Hey guys, how's it going? I am the ConflictNerd. Hello and welcome back to Titanfall. It's been quite some time since we jumped into Titanfall, I guess, literally speaking. And I did say that we would make a return to this someday. I'm going to hold my hands up and say that that promise has been broken. I've got no real intention right now of bringing it back in any permanent manner. We of course have Watch Dogs and Wildstar coming out soon, so there's no real room on the channel for it, but regardless, this video is being made, or if I guess you're watching it, so has been made, because I'm concerned. Because Titanfall had the opportunity to be something, and it seems that it's not going to be that. So, in beta, let's take a trip back in time by a couple of months. In beta, I had a lot of fun with Titanfall. I really enjoyed it. It was something that I decided to call the best first-person shooter that I had played in recent years. The game launched, and for about a week or two, it was still the best first-person shooter that I had played in years. But then it fell into that trap that a lot of other FPS titles happen to fall into. People rank up, they get through a couple of prestiges, and they realize, oh, this weapon can be used and, I guess, cheesed to all hell. I don't need to be skillful. The weapon does a lot of work. Now, some of that happened to be I believe it's the R101C carbine. Some of that happened to be the smart pistol. There are basically bits and pieces of this game that can be, I will call it, cheesed. And that sort of put me off. It reminded me of a lot of the negative experiences that I had had with titles like Call of Duty and Battlefield across the years. So I wound up not playing Titanfall. It's now been about 2 months, probably more, since I last played Titanfall. And a bit of news has come out that leaves me concerned. Respawn has announced that they have pulled 2 of the game modes from the public playlist. You might notice that we are missing Pilot Hunter, and we're also missing Capture the Flag. You can still play these, they are in the Variety Pack, and you can also access them in private games. The thing is, in my opinion, Pilot Hunter and Capture the Flag were the 2 best game modes, or rather are the 2 best game modes in Titanfall. Pilot Hunter takes out the whole thing with killing grunts to gain points, which is an attrition, and that's something people complain about. People complain that there are other people who are farming grunts to win attrition. And then Capture the Flag is honestly one of the really... it's another great mode. It's got that defensive play, which I became really good at, and it's got the offensive play that I know Sherlock Shuffle became really good at, and we made quite the formidable team. He would go attack, I would defend, our team would win pretty much 9 out of 10 times. That was fantastic. The thing is, this news comes at a really bad time. This news comes at a time when I was considering getting back into Titanfall, because we've just had the new maps come out. The Expedition Pack, or whatever the hell they're calling it, with the new maps for the game, which I got for free because I bought the bloody season pass, which was an extra waste of money because I'll probably not bother playing much of this because the modes that I like aren't accessible in a public or easily accessible way, and that's really concerning. Yes, I can get them in the Variety Pack, but the chances are I'll get Attrition, Last Titan Standing, or Hardpoint, and I don't want to really play those, if I'm perfectly honest. Now, I've ranted enough on the menus here. We'll jump into some gameplay and we'll continue discussing this. I have a couple of ideas as to what might have gone wrong, so without further ado, the first problem I guess I have with this is that there's not really much news, and I think that's a problem a lot of people have with Titanfall, and that's a common thing I've read on various forums and stuff like that. People are agreeing that there's just not a lot going on with Titanfall, and that's kind of off-putting when there are other AAA games that have loads going for them, and hell, there's even free-to-play games that have loads going for them, and there's smaller games that have loads going for them that may not be free-to-play. I think a prime example of a game that has loads going for it and doesn't cost you anything really is definitely Warframe. I mean, I know they're not in the same genre, but it is an example of a game that has a lot going for it. It's a free-to-play game. It has regular content updates and is, by all intents and purposes, a pretty damn good game. Titanfall doesn't really have that. It's been a while since launch, and we've only had one map pack, and as far as I know, it was only 3 maps. And I mean, I know it's a new IP. I get that, but in a market, especially an FPS market that is currently dominated by Battlefield and Call of Duty and games like that, I think Titanfall needed to come out swinging with more than just 3 maps every couple of months. I think that's something that definitely let it down. I mean, people will be asking the question, why should I bother with Titanfall when it doesn't do all that much different from these other games that I already know that I enjoy and I already know how to play. And I think that is certainly something that has let the game down a hell of a lot. The fact that there just isn't a lot of added content just yet. And that sucks, don't get me wrong. It definitely sucks, but it is something that I believe has let the game down. The only thing that really had me interested in coming back was the new maps, and I mean, that was after 2 months of me not playing at all, so that is a little bit concerning. Okay, let's deal with these Titans here. I think my smoke should do a nice bit of damage. Hello there. Of course I'm outnumbered. I'm always outnumbered, but I think I can get a hit off on him. Yep, I doomed him. Oh! Alright, settle down. I'm completely screwed here. Eject. There we go. Alright. Well, that sucked, but at least I survived without much of an issue. I'm surprised I'm still doing quite well. I wouldn't say I'm doing well. I'm not doing all that terribly. That said, there is a Titan after me, I'm pretty sure, so let's see if I can quickly run through the battlefield here. Kill this guy as well. So yeah, that was my first problem. There's not a lot going on with it. And I think, to summarize that, the game needs more. The game needs more interaction with the community. The game needs more content. The game just needs more things in general. I think the next problem is one that people are maybe going to argue with because of me being me. You know, me being a YouTuber who's trying to make something of his channel, whether that's to become the next whoever. You know, I will be honest, I want to make something of my channel. I want to be successful to a degree. I would say by my standards, I'm quite happy with how the channel's going, but, you know what I mean. There's no point in me rambling. That said, I think a problem with Titanfall is that it didn't really have a presence on YouTube, and I think that's something that is important with games. At least it didn't have a visible presence that I could really see. I mean, with Call of Duty, you're always hearing of these Call of Duty channels and Call of Duty montages and stuff like that. With Battlefield, you had the Only in Battlefield campaign, which was all over YouTube. And with Titanfall, really, there wasn't all that much, at least not that I've seen, and it's not really promoted on their social media, unlike the way Call of Duty and Battlefield promote videos on their social media, and I think that's something that has let the game down, honestly. I genuinely do. I think that's something that has caused the game to suffer to a degree. The fact that there isn't really a community, there aren't big names in the community for people to look up to, the way there are in perhaps the Call of Duty community and the Battlefield community. You know, I can name YouTubers like, I know Captain Sparkles used to be big in Call of Duty. He's not anymore, but, you know, this is me showing my, I guess, edge when it comes to who does what on YouTube. I know that channels like Syndicate used to do a hell of a lot of Call of Duty, even if it was just zombies. I believe there's the Battlefield Friends are a series that's pretty big when it comes to Battlefield and is often promoted via the Battlefield Facebook pages. And, you know, I could go on and I could go on. Well, I couldn't really. I don't know of that many YouTube channels, but as someone who doesn't actually watch a lot of YouTube, I think it's an example that even though I don't watch a lot, I can still name these channels that do Call of Duty and these shows and stuff like Battlefield, etc., etc. But yeah, I can't think of one that has I can't think of one big name in the Titanfall community at all. Now, obviously, the Titanfall community isn't all that old. It is a relatively new game still, and there is a chance that it could, you know, get a bit bigger. But the thing is, that's not the kind of thing you want to be saying with an FPS, is it? That's the kind of thing you hear with an MMO. You always hear with MMOs, it'll get big a little bit down the line, and it'll be fine, and it'll be successful, and they'll patch out the problems with it, and they'll fix this, and they'll fix that. But that's because people accept that MMOs are for the long run. They're not for, you know, a couple of weeks. They're not something that you really should be getting your impressions of in the space of a couple of days. Whereas with an FPS, you are getting your impressions in a short amount of time, and I think a lot of people, you know, weren't able to get those impressions because social media wasn't there, or simply because the game, to them, wasn't that great. Oh god, this is a map I do not know, so this should be interesting anyway. Let's continue over this one. I'll just follow these people. But yes, that's pretty much my... Oh god, I got wrecked. That's pretty much my two reasons that I think Titanfall has maybe not done as well as people expected. I mean, obviously, you know, we saw what was happening with the game quite early on. You know, we saw the game was maybe not performing as well as the developers wanted. It wasn't performing as well as EA maybe wanted. We saw this early on. But I didn't think it was doing as badly as it apparently is, and I mean, that's just concerning to me, especially since I would love to see this become a franchise. I would love to see it do incredibly well for itself, and unfortunately, it doesn't seem that it's going to. I mean, I'm sure we will see another Titanfall game. I'm pretty much positive that we'll see another Titanfall game, but I mean, I worry for that game. I worry about what that game might end up being, because it's entirely possible that EA will sink their claws into that one. I think it's commonly known anyway, at least I've known it from pretty early on, that EA didn't really get to sink their claws into Titanfall. And that's, I think, what a lot of people believe is the reason the game is as good as it is, or as good as it was, or at least I think that's maybe the reason I enjoyed it as much as I did. My worry is that EA will sink their claws into a sequel, because this one hasn't done as good as maybe they would like. And that worries me, honestly. I wouldn't like to see Titanfall get ruined in any way, but I guess that might just be me being a little bit pessimistic there. Even still, it's something to keep our eyes on. That said, I've been awfully negative here. Is the game fun? Yeah. Am I enjoying it playing it now? Yeah. Do I miss playing this regularly, you know, pretty much daily? Yeah, of course I do. Am I going to go back to playing this regularly? Pretty much daily? No. I'm not. Not in the slightest. Because there's a draw, but there's not that much of a draw. And I don't know if that's just because of the way the game is. I don't know if that's because I know what's going on with it, but I'm not feeling the same desire to play this that I had when it launched. And that's disappointing me. But yes, I've been negative. Let's have a think about what would maybe help. I believe that there's maybe one major way that would help Titanfall get out of this rut that it has found itself in. And I think the way to do that is be more active. You know, be for the developers to start promoting YouTube content and start, you know, talking about what they're doing. Don't just say, we have cool stuff coming, just wait for it. Tell us what you have in the works. Tell us what you're doing. Show us what you're doing and get us excited. The Titanfall hype train was going full steam ahead before launch and for the week or two after launch, but after that it ground to a halt. No one was really talking about it. No one really cared. It's kind of the same as what's happened with the new consoles. People have stopped talking about them, and the hype isn't really there in the same way that it was. Now, obviously, when a game launches, or when a console launches, the hype is, of course, going to die down a bit, but with Titanfall, it pretty much ground to a halt, and I've not really seen that happen before. Not with a game like Titanfall, not with a shooter, not with a game that is a AAA. Also, Titanfall detected, huh? Where? There it is. And the pilot is right there, so if I fire a couple of these off... Let's see if I can get him to walk into them. Yes, I can. Ooh, there's a couple of Titans over there. Can I maybe get up behind them? Yes, I can. Lovely. Punch him. Punch him. Or shoot him. Let's pop this as well. Oh! Oh, yeah. Oh, did I get him? I did get him. Lovely. I will take that. But yeah, I believe that the way to help would be just talk to us. What are you doing? What exciting news do you have for the Titanfall community? What really cool video was just announced by someone that bought your game and decided to make some YouTube content? You know, this is the 21st century. Media is changing. It's on demand. It's people in their bedrooms and in their living rooms and in their back rooms and in the spare room, you know, making the news and making the shows that we watch and doing all of that stuff. And, you know, some of them go on to be successful, but they still do what they were doing to get them there. And there are some people out there who I am sure are capable of making really good Titanfall content, be that an animation, be that whatever. It's just, I don't think it's being shown off to the right people. And I think that kind of thing would help. Give the community something to talk about. That really cool video, get the fans of the game talking about it. Have people in the community that talk about the game and talk about what they would like to see, and have that promoted in such a way that the community is able to go and properly talk about it. Hell, if we can't get the developers to do this, then the next best thing is, as fans of the game, as people who play it and enjoy it, share the videos. Not my video. I'm not in a kind of, oh, share my video, tell everyone about this, but get a community going. Ask the developers. See what's going on. Send your friends that cool Titanfall video that you saw, and see if we can get the game rolling, get the hype train rolling again. What's the next DLC gonna be? What's this gonna be? That said, I think an issue is that we know what the DLC is gonna be, because they told us what the DLC is gonna be before the game even came out. So, in a way, they sort of put themselves into, and nailed themselves into, their own coffin for Titanfall. I don't know what to say about the game, because at the end of it all, I can talk about what I'd like to see. I can tell you what I would like to see. I would like to see more than 3 DLC packs. I would like to see weapon skins, pilot customization, Titan customization. I would have loved to see a proper campaign. But we're not really going to get any of that. Or at least I don't think we're going to get any of that. It seems unlikely that we're going to get any of that. The game is in this really weird place where it is going to go one of two ways. This is either going to become a really big franchise and a really successful franchise, or they're going to make a second one, and then they're just going to leave it for a good few years. And I don't know that I want to see that. I think EA have done that with Medal of Honor, as far as I know. They rebooted it, and then they brought out a sequel to that, and then they realized, this isn't doing so great, we'll leave it for a few years and see if we can maybe make this a bit better, or maybe we'll just abandon it for another 10 years or whatever. I don't want to see that happen to Titanfall. I want the game to be good. I'm just concerned. I do enjoy it. I do have fun with it, and I want reason to come back to it. But I don't have that really. That's not there. The modes that I like, it's now a game of chance as to whether I get to play those. I mean, of course, I could get a couple of people together and do a private match, but that's not going to be great. That's not a full game. That's not the full Titanfall experience. The game just feels like it's trying to do something, but the goals and the objectives aren't really all that clear. So yeah, I worry for Titanfall. I want it to be good, and I think the way to do it is for the developers to be more active with the community. Talk to them. Find out what the community wants. Find out what they would enjoy. Show off some cool videos. That guy made a really cool animation of Titanfall. Go share it. Just get people talking. Because that is the #1 thing for promoting your game. Word of mouth. Get hype going. Get speculation going. And the game might happen to revive itself. Because once you get that hype train rolling, it is difficult to stop. And I'm impressed that Titanfall did manage to stop its hype train. But once it gets going again, and if you do things right, I believe that the hype train might keep going this time. Maybe it'll be nothing like what it was, and it'll be a smaller train, and the journey might not be as long, but I would like to see it get going again. Anyway, folks, that's pretty much it. I don't know what more to say about Titanfall. A bit of a longer video in this than I really planned to have, but I would like to see the game actually go somewhere and actually become a really solid experience. And the games I played there were fun. And it's entirely possible that the people that sort of cheesed things when I played it way back when have gone back to the games that they enjoy, such as Call of Duty or Battlefield or whatever. But there's just something, and I don't know what it is. Anyway, like I said, that's gonna be it. Thank you very much for watching, folks. I've been the Conflict Nerd. This has been Titanfall. What's wrong with Titanfall? What's right with Titanfall? How can we fix Titanfall? This has been Titanfall. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.